Hey, you're listening to Carey Holzman. We'll be right back right after this. So let's get on with today's video. What I've got are 4 headsets, and the reason I've got the 4 headsets is the way I've been doing interviews lately is, boy, it's gotten really complicated and difficult, and I'm probably overthinking it. Sometimes the easiest, so the best solutions rather, are often the easiest solutions. And so I took a step back, was looking at, there's a friend of mine, Marvin B, over at Podnuts, the man in the van, and was watching his interviews, Jeff Hallish over at MSP Unplugged. I'm like, these guys know something I don't know, because their podcasts are brilliantly produced. They look fantastic when they're interviewing people, and they don't look mine don't look anywhere near as good as what they're doing. So I reached out to them. I said, what are you using? And so it turns out they're using an application called StreamYard.com. The version of it that I would need is about $500 a year, but it will do all the work OBS would normally do for me, or Streamlabs. It'll simulcast the feed out. It'll act as the conferencing software like Zoom does or Skype, except it's intended to be broadcasted, and I can have up to 10 people as guests on at the same time in crystal clear broadcast quality. And I can use a webcam. I don't have to have a camera. I don't have, like a professional camera. I don't need a capture card. I don't need all these lights. I don't need any of that, because if you get the right webcam and you get a good headset and microphone, you just slap it on your laptop and load up StreamYard, and you are rocking a higher quality broadcast than what I'm doing with all this complex equipment. So while this complex equipment is great for doing what I'm doing right now, today, the technology is moving so quickly. What I'm about to show you didn't even exist 2 or 3 years ago. Like, it just wasn't around. So while gaming headsets have been around, they keep getting better and better. Some of them even have motors in them to vibrate the headset for bass. Like when you're gaming, it rattles your head, which I think would get annoying. And so what I wanted was a headset that wouldn't be, I didn't want RGB on it. I don't want it to be a distraction. I want it to be a professional looking headset with the best possible microphone. I mean, I have a very expensive microphone I'm using here, and I'd like to, have this kind of quality or maybe even better. So these headsets are all, $100, $160, right in that range. And this was looking on Amazon and reading reviews. I didn't really watch any YouTube video reviews on this. I just read Amazon reviews, and I looked at how the headsets are, if they're professional looking or if they're gamey looking, like if they want to look like a gamer. So I'm dealing with people in corporate America representing large multi-million-dollar corporations, and I don't want to do that with a plastic RGB headset that looks like I just got done playing some Call of Duty. That's just not the right attire for that style of video. So what I was looking for was some professionalism, but ultimately what's going to win me over is the sound quality. But the problem is I can't hear how those microphones sound unless I use them. And I thought, well, you guys could help me with that tonight. And I thought, we'll open these headsets up. I don't really care how the speakers, how the headphones themselves sound, because I'm just going to be talking to people with them. I'm not going to be using them as headphones to listen to music in, although I'm sure they'll be fine. That's not my concern. My concern is ultimately, how good is the microphone? Does the headset fit comfortably? Is it heavy? Is it awful? And I actually have 4 different things I need headsets for. So I didn't just buy these because there's money burning a hole in my pocket. What I want to do is isolate which of these 4 is the best of the 4. And then I'll be using that in my future interviews, which will be so much better in quality than what I've been doing, and so much easier, because I would have to constantly reconfigure the setup and the OBS. Everything had to be reconfigured for interviews. And then a lot of times my guests, they don't have good mics, or they don't have good cameras, or they don't have good lighting, or they're on Wi-Fi, which is just horrible unless they're on 5 gigahertz. So what would happen in OBS is you'd see the video shrink down when the video quality dropped for no apparent reason, and then it would get bigger again, and it was only on the guest it would do that, not to me. StreamYard fixes all of that, and StreamYard can simulcast it out to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, all that at the same time, all using their internet, their resources, their computer encoding, and all I'm doing is basically establishing a connection most similar to Zoom, honestly, but with broadcast quality. So that's my goal tonight, is to just kind of, let's get these unboxed, let's try them out, and let's see how they sound. So you've got this to go by, which is, if any of these sound as good as this is $300, $600, is a $900 microphone setup. Actually, about with tax and batteries and chargers, it's probably close to $1,000 for one microphone that you're listening to me on, and that includes the receiver, the sending unit, all that stuff, right? So if I can replicate something similar to this quality under $200 and $150, that sounds pretty good to me, like literally and figuratively. So we've got the Philips Fidelio, which is really an over-the-ear headphone, but the seller on Amazon was including a NeeGo add-on microphone, which apparently is somehow an option that I don't understand. So we'll figure that out. Over here, Cooler Masters MH752 are pretty popular online. The Audio-Technica ATH-G1s, I thought, Audio-Technica is more in line with the type of equipment that I use. Some of my equipment is made by Audio-Technica, so I was familiar with that. And then Massdrop, I'm a big fan of Massdrop. I've got some Sennheiser headphones I purchased through Massdrop that I'm very, very happy with. And so the PC37X is a limited edition Sennheiser build at a much cheaper price, because that's what Massdrop supposedly does, is they sort of propose an idea of making the product available at this certain price, and then if there's enough interest, they approach the manufacturer. I don't know the order, but they talk to the manufacturer about ways they can get that price down, that they have so many committed buyers at this price. And Sennheiser has been participating with Massdrop quite a bit. So I was happy with my previous Massdrop Sennheiser, so I thought let's give them a shot on the headset area. So I don't know, what should I start with? What do you guys think? A lot of people want me to try the Cooler Masters first, which are right here. I'm kind of curious about these myself. Now, I don't know if these are USB or if, how we're going to get them plugged in, but that'll be another bridge we have to cross. You can see the tape has never been broken on these. I have not cheating here. This has never been opened before. I ordered these, I think, on the 13th of this month, so they've been sitting for about 2 weeks. And I'm like, I gotta get around to this. I gotta make this. Because until I have the headset issue figured out, I can't test out my StreamYard setup, right? So it's certain things have to happen first. And this is one of those things that has to happen. So let's get these MH752s out of the box. Let's see what's in this box. Let's see what we got here. Oh, good, a box in a box. I love that, because I'm a big fan of packing material. All right. All right. This has to open one side. Well, this side has a logo on it. This side doesn't. So I'm guessing that's the top. Okay, we got some documentation. Put headphones on head. Listen. Imagine that's what the instructions say. I don't know. I've read them. Oh, okay. These are nice. A nice, almost Alcantara feel. Very soft, bonded, leathery feel, not Alcantara. The problem with bonded leather is it's very thin and it tears very easily. It's just really cheap leather, if it's even leather. So while it is really nice when it's new, it doesn't age well in the desert from my experience, but that'll be a problem I'll have. I'm assuming I'll have. Maybe I'm wrong. We have oh, this is the microphone. I see. So they're meant to be headphones or a headset. That's cool. I like that. And then we've got some kind of a remote here, I'm guessing, for volume control. What else? Yeah, it's USB. Okay. All right. Let's see if I have 3 more hands and I can unbox everything. All right, there we go. That can go down there. And then there's another little box and everything else here. That's an empty box. We'll get rid of that. So that's our USB. And then I guess our headphones are going to plug into that. I'm guessing the microphone plugs into the headphones somewhere. And in this box, I don't know. I mean, it feels like we got everything. What are we missing? Oh, of course. Of course. Anything else in there? You have to have a bag. Everybody's got to have a bag. I don't know who these bag salesmen are, but they can take a day off. You know what I'm saying? The Sennheiser, the Seasonic power supply came in one of these little Crown Royal velvety bags. Whoever's selling these bags, take a day off. We have enough. It's like they're just in the computer industry going, you know, your product would be so much nicer if you included a bag. You don't actually have to put the product in the bag. Just put the bag in the box and put that box in another box and then tape it closed and then wrap it around with shrink wrap. And then you can easily sell it for an extra $30. I think that's the routine the little bag guy salesman has given these folks, because this wasn't a thing in 1999 or even 2005 or 2010. This is very much a sign of being in the 2016 era forward, that we're living in such an era of unfortunate waste. However, I guess some people will like it. I would have preferred these were sold as an accessory, as a, you know, just as a headphone bag for people who wanted it. But in the bag, there is one other thing here. There's what appears to be 3.5 millimeter male-to-male cable, which I'm going to guess we need since there is no cable on here. And I imagine, well, this looks like a pretty long cable too. But I guess this is going to go into the computer, right? It's USB. This part, sorry. And then this part has got a clip on it, like for your belt, or maybe you could put it up on your shoulder or something on your collar or your shirt. So I guess you need a cable to go then from here to the headphones. And remember, I'm trying to avoid reading any documentation because it's a headset. Shouldn't need to. I'm not new at this. So we'll find out how naive I am here in a minute. So let me get the wire ties off of this and then we'll try this out. Okay. So if we plug one end to here. Now the headphones have a weirdly shaped hole on the side here, and then a small round hole here. So one is the microphone and one is for this, and the other's for the microphone. And I don't know, except that if we look at the design at the end of the microphone, you see it's got that plastic rectangular piece. And I imagine that's so you don't need instructions, right? You're going to line up that hole right there, and it will only go in one way. So it's got to be turned 180 degrees, and then it just locks right in. So you can't make a mistake there. That's a good design. I like that. And then this piece, let's see. This is round, and it's going to go into the round hole, which is right down in the middle at the bottom of the left headphone. And it pretty much locks. It won't spin once it's in there. I like that, and I'm digging that. And then let's see how stylish I look. Ooh, the whole room just got quiet. And then let's take this wire tie off. And this is the streaming computer right here. This is where all the magic is happening for this broadcast. So I'll just find a USB port back there and let's see what happens when I plug it in. We'll just go right here. There we go. It says we're setting up your MH752. Windows 10 is doing that all for us. I thought this thing lit up. There's a switch on the side, which I'm guessing is for mute. And then we have what appears to be, so right here, the switch goes red when the switch is in an up position. These are your microphone volume buttons. And then I'm guessing on, off for the mic. And then on the front, you've got up and down volume for your headphone volume, and then a 7.1 surround simulation with that button, I'm guessing. So let me come around here to OBS. Actually, maybe I can do it from right here. And we can add this as an audio device, or we should be able to. Let's see, audio source. Headset microphone. Okay, so I'm still on the expensive microphone. I'm going to mute my microphone right now. So I'm going to hit this button, and when I hit this, you're not going to hear me anymore. You're going to see my lips move just to prove it to you. I'm not using this microphone yet. I'm still on this microphone. I'm going to mute, just so I'm clear, I'm going to mute this microphone. When I hit the switch, I'm going to say testing 1, 2, 3. So you see my lips, and you won't hear it because both microphones will be off. Then I'm going to turn this microphone on, and the next time you hear my voice will be with this mic. We got it? Here we go. Check 1, 2. All right, so now I'm on this headset, the Corsair, whatever this was, MH752. And I don't know, there's a switch here. It says I thought it would be muted. Maybe when it's red, it's off. Let's see. Let me move the switch. Okay, so when the switch shows red, when I move it up, that puts it into mute. So I had it backwards. I would think red was live, right? So, and then there's a volume for the microphone. If I raise the volume up, is the volume getting louder as I speak? Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. Seems about the same. Oh, wait, no, it's kind of going up a little bit. Now, it says the headset has much lower quality than the lavalier. Let's try. And again, I can move the headset down or a little bit further away. A lot of times just the placement of the microphone can make a huge difference. Even just kind of moving it down here. And then I think if I turn the 7.1 on, I think that only affects the audio that I hear, not the audio that you hear. So I'll turn that back off. And so this is the audio quality of the MH752s. To which I'm hearing, it's not bad, it sounds awesome. Some people are saying it's out of sync. Well, that's an OBS issue when coming in from a different audio source. That's correctable in the software, but it's not auto-correcting. And again, this would not be an issue in StreamYard. So I'm not worried about synchronization issues. Zach says it's more muffled. William says this sounds like I'm in a tunnel. And if I move the microphone closer to my mouth, is that better? Or am I too close? Is it oversaturated? I'm looking at my audio levels, and the audio levels look good without me adjusting anything. All right, well, we've got a good baseline here. So let me switch this back off. And if I can remember how to do it. All right, so I'm going to switch this one off. We're going to go back to this expensive lavalier right now. Okay, so now I'm back on the lavalier microphone, and this was an interesting experiment. This is sort of performing the way I thought it would, which is okay. I didn't think this was going to blow my mind, and from everything you guys are telling me, I'm right. I think, honestly, of the 4 headsets, I think this is probably going to be the worst one. That's just based on the impression I got from the reviews. And I just don't know how to define worse, right? So this will be the first one we're trying, and we'll set that one aside. Let's get it out of here. Put it down here for now. It's okay. It's okay. It's not great. So these are the Audio-Technicas. Now I'm a big Audio-Technica fan. I think they make a good quality product without a Sennheiser price. Sennheiser makes great products too, but they're really expensive. And I don't know that the amount extra that it costs for Sennheiser is resulting in that much better in quality or performance of the product. It is better. Is it $100 better? Is it $15 better? Well, I guess that's for each one of us to decide. If you can afford it, obviously it's great to have Sennheiser equipment, at least at my level of broadcast. And it just gets really super expensive. You know, the previous lapel mics I were using that were wireless were Sony's, and the Sony's are really good. And Sony's another one of those companies where you pay extra for just a little bit better, you know. So anyway, here's the Audio-Technica ATH-G1s. Now these look very professional to me. It's showing it also has a removable microphone. That implies to me that these are really intended for music quality headphone listening, which of course I'm not testing in this broadcast because, well, copyright violations, right? So let's see what we got now. Less effort in the packaging because all we have is a plastic clamshell thingy here, right here. Much simpler packaging, which I very much appreciate. And then right here in the middle, we've got what I'm guessing is the microphone in a little baggie. And it appears we have some wire ties holding, is it a wire tie? Or is this wire? What's holding these in? Something. Yeah, there is a wire tie. No, it's not a wire tie. Why are those wires exposed? No, there's a wire tie. It's right here. Okay, so again, we've got our documentation. I'll try and keep it in organized piles. Let's see if I can get this wire tie off of here. Oh, okay, so, oh, and then there's tape holding this plastic bag in. Okay. All right. Let me just set this down here for a minute. So those feel much higher quality. I like how they feel so much better than those Cooler Master. Those Cooler Master ones feel cheap and gamey, plasticky and sort of, yeah, I don't, they're okay. This feels like something for a kid. All right, so in the bag, we've got a breakout for the headphones and microphone from a single 3.5. And then once again, with the microphone, you can see that it's got a shape to it at the end of the plug so that this can only go in one way into the headphones. And if I look at these headphones, we already have a cable coming out, which is in a Ziploc bag, but can't be sealed because the cable's coming out. So let's see what we got here. Okay. So I'm guessing the reason for this single plug would be for like a tablet or a smartphone or something where you would have a headphone and microphone in a single jack. And then you would need this little breakout adapter to plug into the back of the PC to your sound card. Or I guess you could go to the front of the PC. You know how I'm always hooking up those front port umbilicals and I'm always telling you this is for your front headphone and your front microphone jacks? for headsets. That's exactly what those are for. You've just never seen me use them before because never had any need to. Now, what's interesting, there was a wire tie here on the other side that just had come loose on its own. So we'll get rid of that. I definitely don't like this exposed wire. That's just unacceptable. Whoever came up with this idea, that's a bad design. There should be a better, this should be hidden with some sort of a housing around it or a track so that you don't see those wires. And then there's the inside of the headphones there. And then somewhere right here, remember, it appears on all these headphones, or headsets rather, that at the very bottom, at the 6 o'clock position, is where your headphone cable's going to go, and then your microphone cable will go slightly above that, and typically it appears only goes in one direction, and I'm just trying to figure out if it's this way, or can you turn it 180 degrees and go the other way? No, you can't go the other way with it. You can see it's not going to line up. It's got to be turned around. I like when you can't get it wrong, when the engineers do something that anybody with a little critical thinking could put the square peg in the square hole. And then let's see how these feel. They're definitely a lot lighter. They feel better made, but that cable sticking out, oh, that's a big no-no, because that's just too easy to damage. You could get hung up on something. You put the headphones down, they drop, the cable gets caught up on something and pulls it and rips it, tears it. You're out of a set of a $160 headset. So, all right, let's try this. Put these on. And, oh goody, another cable tie. All right, now this time, let's see, do I have front audio ports on this thing? I never use them. It's a black on black. I can't see anything. Bear with me here for a minute. I need a flashlight. I could go around the back too, but okay. Okay, so there's a white and a black. The white one is microphone. And the black is headphone. Okay. Cord is not very long on here. I'm not talking through this yet. Be aware of that, please. Okay. Let me step around. Now this should be an interesting experiment because now we're using the sound card on the, well, I'm not doing it yet, but. So the Realtek software on the computer said, did you just plug a microphone into the microphone jack? I said, yes. Did you just plug a headphone into the headphone jack? I said, yes. Those were the pop-ups that just came out. And let's turn this audio device off. Let's change it. See if we can go with this. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what my volume levels are going to be, but once again, I'm going to mute my lapel microphone. And then I'm going to say testing 1, 2, 3, and you're not going to hear it. And then I'm going to switch over to the headset. Here we go. Switching off. Okay, now I'm on the headset. I'm going to be very curious what you guys think of this headset because it feels better to me. And I already sort of lean with a bias towards Audio-Technica for microphones. So I'm kind of curious, how does this microphone sound? Now remember, I'm not changing any settings in OBS other than the source. I'm not changing any volume, and I'm not changing any sound card settings. Leo says there's too much gain, but I can easily reduce gain in OBS. We can bring that gain down. I'm at negative 1.9 right now. So Zero Core says the previous mic was a 4 out of 10. This mic is an 8 out of 10. Well, that's very helpful. Thank you. Yates said this mic really picks up the S's. Jake says voting no on this example. Interesting. Barry suggesting the microphones, both the lapel and this mic, should be in equal distance to test them side by side, but they're completely different technologies and how they're amplified. The lapel mic is meant to be further away, and these kind of mics are meant to be closer. So yeah, we're looking. Everybody's pretty much on the same page where the first microphone, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10 is a little less than half, and this one's a little more than half. Patrick says you can tell that I'm on a headset mic, but this one's a little better. Okay. Okay, so let's switch back to the lapel mic right now. Okay, so, now I'm on the lapel mic, and we can take this one off. This is pretty much what I thought it would be. In fact, it's fair to say both of these, the Cooler Master and the Audio-Technicas, are performing as I expected they would, which is either good news or bad news. I don't know. I'm not getting any surprises at this point. Let me unplug these. The reason I don't want to plug these into the back of the computer is I don't, if I were to use these on a StreamYard interview, I'm going to be standing on the other side of the computer. So to run these around would not be ideal. The cord is maybe 6 feet. So that would, you know, if I move my head or anything and I pull the computer off the desk, that wouldn't be good. And I really would like to use my laptop for the StreamYard interviews and not use this computer at all, because again, I don't want to change anything on the configuration here. I want to keep this just for live streaming on YouTube, and then ideally use the laptop for StreamYard. But because StreamYard's all web-based, I don't use OBS. So even if I did decide to use the streaming computer, it would be a different software package altogether. Well, it's just a web browser. That's all it is. I don't need OBS. I don't need capture card software. I don't need capture card driver. I don't need any of that. I don't need XSplit. I don't need VCam. This is where StreamYard's going to shine for me. And then I thought I might as well just use the laptop. But in theory, I could use any computer with a good enough internet connection, log into my StreamYard account, and immediately be able to stream an interview, which is, you know, this is a $900 capture card, $1,000 in microphone, and a $2,500 camera, and all kinds of accessories that add up to thousands of dollars, which is way overkill when StreamYard can do it with a headset and a webcam, you know, and it would look and sound better in theory. Okay, so let me put these somewhere. All right, these are the Audio-Technicas. Oops. All right, so now I have these Philips Fidelios, and I've got a feeling these are not going to be good. And the reason I say that is because the microphone it comes with is from another company. It's almost like the microphone's an afterthought, and these are really headphones. And I didn't realize that when I bought it. I thought that the included microphone was made by Philips, not a third party. I'm very concerned that the quality of this is going to not be good. But I could be wrong, and that's the point of testing, so let's just keep going. Mike Smith is very particular about audio quality, so once we decide which of these is best, I'll see what Mike has to say, and hopefully Mike will agree with everybody, and it'll be a real easy decision. Now, for some reason, they put a little condom on this. I don't know why. It's like a little dust jacket. Now, whenever you have dust jackets on things like HDMI ports and display ports, it's to keep dust from building up inside of there and hampering the connection. But I mean, if you had dust on your plug, you would just wipe it off. I don't know why. This just seems like a tiny waste, but it's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Oh, look, and there's another one. There's another little little condom for my jack. That's great. So somehow, I don't know how this works. We've got a slider. Is that a slider? So these are some pretty cheap switches. These are the kind of things that when they get dust in them, when you start to rotate the little dial, it goes, it makes that sound. That's what's going to happen to this. I can already tell you that. But let me just see here. Save my negativity for something that's happening now, not in the future. I'm projecting from past experience what's going to happen in the future, whether it's those wires or it's that little dial type lever or what you call it? It's a dial. They always cause noise in the future. They always sound great for about a year maybe, and then they just make all kinds of noise and hiss when you're adjusting them in the future. So I don't like that, but let's see what we got here. It's another box. Okay, we'll put that box over there. Let's go here. Ooh, nice packaging. So we got some desiccant. Ooh, those have some weight to them. Well, these feel like proper headphones. Wow. Wow, those are really attractive. Okay. There's no microphone jack, which is why that thing, I guess, is made the way it is, huh? Let's see. In the box remaining, we've got a 3.5. Well, first of all, there's instructions in case you don't know how to use headphones. Place on head, plug in, shut up and listen. Turn the volume up. I don't know. That's a lot of documentation for headphones. All right, well, I'm going to assume I don't need that. So we've got the 3.5 millimeter to 1/4 inch adapter for old school headphone use. There's some kind of weird cable management tool here, I guess. Sticky tape. All right, let's see. What am I doing? Let's put this over here. Try and keep this all together. Much longer cord. And the cord's got a nice braid sleeve around it, which I like. So it's not likely to snag or to kink up on itself, you know, where sometimes the cables will magically twist themselves into knots. And you're like, how did that happen? So when they're braided like that, that's less likely to happen. This is obviously going to plug in, just like the other was right down at the bottom here. Wow, this feels like a proper pair of headphones. Okay. And I don't want that adapter, so put that down there. And then we'll come around the front again to the headphones, which I think are on the right. If only I could see it. Yeah, headphones on the right. It's pretty universal in most cases. Just never use them. And I'm standing on the cord. That's how long the cord is. So we're going to plug that in. Good, good. And let's see the microphone. How's that going to work? Where's the microphone? Okay, so the microphone. Oh, it's a pass-through. I see. I see. Okay. It's a pass-through. So normally, without the mic, that's how you would use these as headphones. I got it. All right. I'm a little slow. And so this is going to plug in. Let's see, this is always the left, right? So go this way. Of course, nothing keeps it. Ooh. It was like cracking when I was bending the microphone cable. Is it supposed to crack? All right. Okay, so that one goes there, and then we've got a nice reusable Velcro wire management strip there, which is a nice touch. I'm guessing this is mute again with some sort of volume control for the microphone with the dial. Yeah. Okay. And then let's see if that goes there. Well, then it doesn't break out, does it? Doesn't give me a breakout? That is not good. I would need this split for headphones and microphone. Interesting choice of design here. This is clearly a kludge, meaning it's kind of a engineered to do something it wasn't really designed to do. So you got a little clip on here, but that clip doesn't go very far. I don't know where you're supposed to clip this. I'm going to plug this into the microphone area. Let's see what happens. Let's see. What did I plug in? Headphones. My choices are line in, mic in, speaker out, or headphones. So it's going to be mic in. Okay. Oh. It's detecting two things in the one jack. I don't know which one's which. Well, let's try headphone. I could have them backwards. I really don't know. So let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and mute my lapel microphone, and then we're going to switch to this mic. There we go. Okay, so now I'm back on the lapel mic. So my concern is these are a great set of headphones and a real crappy microphone. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it seems. And again, I thought the microphone that was being included was related to the manufacturer. So I may actually send these back to Amazon. I don't think these are gonna even be close to what I needed here. So I will make a little pile over here to put it all back in the box. I think those are gonna go back. Like those weren't cheap. I think those were the X2 HRs on Amazon is like was over $100, I think. That's all right. That's why we're testing. That's why we're testing. And then this cable is going to go back with it. So let me grab this one too. This cable's almost too long. I'm just constantly stepping on it. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, well, I'm hoping I saved the best for last. So let's find out. The PC37s, these are Sennheisers. They're from Massdrop. I have high expectations for these. So this may be a massive disappointment. I don't know. There's our package. They look cheap and plasticky, which is not a good start. Interestingly, these are all mostly the 3.5 millimeter jacks. I thought because they were headsets, they'd be mostly USB, and I was a little concerned about going into a mixer. Zero Core says I should try the breakout from the other headset on it. Honestly, that will render the other headset useless. Like I said, I would need all 4 headsets for different things, and it would mean that if I had to steal from one to donate to the other, that the other one would then be not really usable. But I'm betting that the music quality in those Philips headphones is probably really good. But as a headset for at least the microphone part of it, which is critical when doing an interview, you've got to be able to ask your guests questions. They've got to be able to hear you. I absolutely think these are the cheapest looking, feeling headset of the bunch. They feel like a toy. This doesn't feel serious to me, but maybe they'll surprise me. I really, out of the box, this just feels like cheap crap. And I just wouldn't expect Sennheiser to put their name on something that looks like it should say Fisher Price. But let's just give it a fair shake. They're tight. Holy smokes, they're tight. That's probably not going to wear well over time, but who knows? Maybe they will. Okay, so speaker goes on the right. I guess that doesn't matter because the sound card asks you what you just plugged in and it'll adapt to whatever you plugged in. So in that case, headphone is what I'm selecting, and I'll click OK. And now the red or pink plug will go into the microphone input. Oh, I'm hearing it in the headset now. That's mic in. Okay. So once more, I'm going, now this isn't really adjustable. This stays a distance from your mouth. You can't move it away. You can only raise it up or down. That's an interesting, it's an interesting choice there from Sennheiser. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute my lapel mic. Check, 1, 2. These already look better on the sound scale than what we just used. So now I'm on this microphone now. Someone says they're hearing a buzz. It shouldn't be a buzz. The headphones are tight. It feels like they're made for children. There's a lot of hissing. That's because my gain is cranked all the way up, which means I've got to turn the filter, the noise suppression back on. So I'm going to go back and turn that noise suppression on now, and that should resolve, hopefully it resolves the hissing. So of all of the headsets we've tried out, which ones do you guys think sound the best? They sound flat and compressed. That's what Blackwatch says. Selden says they have worse frequency response. Ski Man says they sound the best so far. Yates Network says sounds pretty good, very natural tone, even without so much bass. These are another 8 of 10 for me. So Zero Core is saying these are pretty much equivalent to the Audio-Technica headset. George Ferrugia says the Audio-Technicas were better. Vern says the Audio-Technicas are better. Cody says the Audio-Technicas are better. Blackwatch thinks the first one was better. Really? The Cooler Master? And Selden Bell liked the Cooler Masters better as well. Bruce thinks these sound the best of the 3. Well, there's 4, but I guess you're not counting the previous one because it didn't really give us anything. Zero Core is saying a 4 out of 10 on the Cooler Masters, 8 out of 10 on the Audio-Technicas, a 1 out of 10 on the Philips, and an 8 out of 10 on the Sennheisers I'm wearing right now. FlyGuy23 says these are the second best. Most people seem to think those Audio-Technicas are the best ones of these 4. With that in mind, if you have some familiarity with headsets that are much better broadcast quality, what make and model would you recommend? I'm going to go ahead and take these off right now and switch back to my lapel mic. Hang in there for just a minute. Okay, so back on the lapel microphone. These seem like the most durable, right? Because the Audio-Technica has the exposed wire. You see there's no exposed wire. The wires are in the plastic track. But these also look to be they feel cheap. They feel really cheap to me. The HyperX Cloud 2s are what you guys are recommending, huh? The reason I ask is if I send those Philips back, maybe I'll swap them out for something else. Give something else a try. John Williams said these are pretty good, but he thinks the Audio-Technica sound better. Yates Networks says, he says, I think it depends on you, Carey. Do you prefer a more natural tone or do you want a more bottom-heavy tone? I don't know until I hear them. Catherine Anna Hauserman's recommending the SteelSeries 5. I guess that's from Razer. Does Razer make the SteelSeries? William Lynn says he likes the HyperX Clouds. Can I get some headphones and a desk mic like the Blue Yeti and use the Logitech StreamCam? The problem with a desk mic is if you turn your head when you talk, which isn't likely going, because when you're on like when I'm here and I'm talking to you guys, one of the great things about having a lapel mic is when I turn around to work on something, if I had a boom or a desk mic, my voice would be, all of the amplification and direction of my voice would be moving with my body blocking it, and you wouldn't hear me. So with this lavalier, as I walk around and spin different directions, my voice is always equally the same, even if I walk out of the room. But because this will be used for interviewing, I will primarily be sitting in one place, looking at the person I'm talking to. So I guess my thinking needs to change on the whole desktop mic thing, because I have a very nice high LPR 40, which sounds amazing. But there's one other thing I've got that could change all of this. Because I already thought of this. I already thought, what if all of these are just not going to cut it? And so I had this idea. This may make up for any shortcomings and could make every one of these headsets very usable, or maybe it won't. What I'm holding is a small, it's a portable, it's called a GoXLR Mini, and what it is a very small mixer and preamp. And one of the problems these microphones can have is on the preamp side, where we're not getting enough gain, and I've got to crank those dBs all the way up that you have all this hiss. This could potentially correct that. And if we look around the back, you can see we've got a line in and a line out, and we've got some controls that Carey's been splurging. Trust me, everything you're seeing added up doesn't cost what the microphone I'm wearing costs. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 microphones, 4 headsets, and a mixer for less than the cost of one microphone. So this really wasn't very expensive. I think this was $150 or something. There wasn't. There's a bigger version that has like the slides are on motors, and anyway, it's ridiculous. So in the front of it, you'll see it's got a headphone and a microphone jack right up in the front. So instead of plugging in to the front of the computer directly with the headset would plug into this, and then this will plug in. And then I can start controlling volume and noise levels, which may be what we want to correct it. In fact, this can plug right into the USB port. So the last time I've had to use a mixer with a microphone, I was doing radio. So everything else has been, you know, digital, and just never needed it. And I've had some high-end radio equipment. Now this has never been opened, so I've got to cut the tape on the box. And I was really hoping, because I was foreseeing, that was my question. What if, I'm not going to buy every headset on Amazon and then test them all and send them all back. So I picked what I thought were the 4 most professional looking. I somehow missed those Audio-Technicas you sent, those professionals. I'm trying to remember if I took them out of the running for some reason. I can't remember, but I don't know why I did that, but, or maybe I didn't see them. I don't know. I can't remember. This was a few weeks ago. Let's see what's in here. In the box, there's our GoXLR, very simple packaging. I'm digging that so far. And then we've got a USB cable and some documentation. And apparently they sealed it so it stays factory fresh. You wouldn't want a stale mixer. I don't know why this is vacuum sealed. It's very strange. I guess it's not vacuum sealed. There's some small holes in the bag. I just don't know why they found it necessary to seal the bag. It's just weird. Okay, let's take a look at this close up. Let's see what we got here. I always get on you guys about removing the little plastic on GPUs and stuff because it looks terrible with the plastic on it. And a lot of times the plastic may be blocking some venting, but at the very least it just looks terrible. And here it even tells you, remove the protective film. So somewhere, you know, they should give you something to pull the protective film up, like a little piece of it should be, you know, a little extra. But I guess you got to get a fingernail under there. You're supposed to remove the protective film. I almost can't even tell it's got a film on it. How about that sticker? Well, I can remove the sticker that says remove the protective film, but that doesn't remove the protective film. I'm just going to keep saying protective film. There it is. Ooh. You don't want to rip the buttons off, so I'm going to work around those. Shiny. So again, the headsets are going to plug in headphone and microphone right there. And then if I wanted to use my high LPR40 XLR with a preamp here, then we've got a line in and a line out. So if you were going into another mixer or something like that, or you had some other device, audio input device like an MP3 player and you wanted to go audio into that. And then of course there's the USB port, and then there's a digital plug that shows a game controller, which I don't know what that does. So let's see if this changes the value proposition of any of these headphones, either in a positive or a negative way, to see if there's any benefit, you know, to compensate for whatever the wherever the headphones might be falling short, we might be able to compensate for with the mixer. And I didn't want to have some overly, you know, expensive thing taking up a space the size of a laptop just for controlling my audio quality, because again, this is not 20 years ago. That would have been what would be expected. These days, a lot of this can be controlled via software now. You don't even need the physical hardware, but it is sometimes nice to have this slider and to physically see it versus looking at a picture of a mixer on the screen. You know, especially if that's what you, like myself, have grown up with and used and familiarized yourself with. Just to have a little breakout box like that is much more appealing than, you know, looking for the window of the mixer and then having it crash on you or something. So that shouldn't be a problem when we go hardware based. And then we'll just find any USB port back here. I guess we'll go right there. Looks good. And this thing should light up. Yeah, there it goes. Wow, did you see that? So we've got all kinds of stuff going on here. Microphone, chat, music. Oh, and it kind of lights up as I raise these. See the lights on each side? Okay. All right, and then the buttons down here will be turning, you know, muting these on and off. This looks to be a sensor button. There's somebody, I don't know, I guess it bleeps people out. And then this is my master mute for my microphone here. So that doesn't require any instructions. That's, you know, if you're familiar with how a mixer works, that looks pretty straightforward. So let's try these back in the opposite direction, I guess. We'll put the Sennheisers back on. Only this time, we're going to use the mixer. I'm not accustomed to headphones fitting me tight like this. I don't usually have to extend headphones out. I'm not a big person. That's why these feel like they might be made for kids. Okay. Green is usually where your speakers or headphones go. Red is usually microphone. So I'm plugged in here. Now I'm going to mute my lapel mic. I want to go over to this GoXLR. Give me just a minute because I have to configure it in OBS. So you're going to hear silence here for a minute. Okay, there's no audio device, so I may have to load drivers for this manually. Let me take a quick look online for the GoXLR Mini, because you're not hearing me through this headset. I'm back on my lapel microphone right now. Let's see, GoXLR drivers. All right, maybe I have to install software. There's a link to the product page, but there's no oh, yeah, there is software. GoXLR app. Okay. I definitely didn't download this before. That's a bigger download. You know what? I'm going to take these off because this is... I was hoping for a plug-and-play situation, but it didn't work out too well. This is why I go on late at night, see? Okay, GoXLR app. Let's execute that. Install. Thank you for that link. That was from John Young. Thank you, John. Welcome to the TC Helicon GoXLR USB audio driver. Okay, this looks like what I needed. I didn't think the other thing looked right. I'm not sure what the other thing was for, but it certainly seemed to load a driver, just apparently not the right one. Pre-installation was successful. Click next to continue. Has been click finish to close the wizard. Okay. Check. Launch the GoXLR wizard. Yes. Oh, hello. What? Firmware update detected. A new device firmware has been found. Would you like to update? Okay. Oh, so now this thing is like got green lines going up and down. It says doing all the things as the progress bar, verifying, device is verifying update, installing update to device. 38%, 45%, 60%, 70, 80, 5, 90, 95, 100. Welcome to GoXLR. Talk into the mic to ensure a proper level. All right, so let me just set this down. Talk into the condenser, 3.5 millimeter. Oh, I can hear myself. Hello. Ooh, you sound sexy. How you doing? All right, so the levels, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Just click OK. Okay, now it's still monitoring. There's a tutorial, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Device control panel, I don't care. Configuration panel, I don't care. Start playing. Okay, thank you. Oh, it's cutting in and out on my headphones here. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check, check, check. Okay, so I can hear this microphone in these headphones, but you're still hearing me on the lapel mic. Oh, I can change the colors. Red, teal, vaporware. What is vaporware? I don't even know. I don't even know. Vaporware. Oh, it's an old profile. Okay, so, ooh, that got loud. Channel 1, microphone, mute all, bring chat to 0, music to 0, system. So it's showing on the screen, interesting. Check 1, 2, oh, now the buttons light up as they should. Okay, that's good. If I hit that, oh, this is you gotta hold it down to mute. That sucks. It's probably adjustable in the software. That's my sensor button. Okay, so now I should be able to switch over to this. This looks like it's gonna be okay now. Okay. Let's see what happens. Back to audio input device. Broadcast stream mix. Chat mic, sample. Oh, I get to pick which output I want. I just want the whole mix. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the lapel mic right now. Okay, so now I'm broadcasting to you on this headset, but it seems like it's going in and out. So let me turn off. That filter is on. It's my noise suppression. That is. It's you guys hearing that? So what's happening in when I'm monitoring is my voice is cutting in and out, but I don't know if it's going out that way. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Yeah, it's breaking up, right? I don't know why it's doing that. It's very strange. It was check 1, 2, 3. Cables are plugged good. Testing 1, 2. Breaking up. It's almost like maybe a USB resource issue. Oh, there's a gateway here. Hold on. Is it? What if we lower the gate down? Let's bring. Okay, so this is a gate problem. Check 1, 2. Check, 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 check. It's doing what it's supposed to do. All right, that's fine. No, it's good. This is what the mixer's supposed to do. What I was emulating in OBS was software. Then there's a compressor, and I can bring the compressor up a little bit, and that should really do a number to bring my voice out. What if we bring it right about here? And I can bring the treble down. I can bring the mids a little bit higher. I can bring the bass up a little bit, maybe right about there. Hello, and welcome into the... It's loud. Check 1, 2. I need to bring the gate down, I think, a little bit more. Check, check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. 1, 2. Holy smokes. Compressor's up too high. Let me bring the compression down a little bit. Let me bring the treble up a little here. Hello, and welcome into the... Hello. Check 1, 2. Wow, it's dead silent. Okay, very cool. Now, it is loud. It is loud. So I can bring this down. Just slide the dial, which is a lot easier than messing around in OBS. Check 1, 2, 3. Hello, 1, 2. Now, how does this sound right now? Like, to me, from what I'm hearing in my headset, this is a little more professional to the level of, well, back in the day when we'd do the whole radio thing, you know, we'd say, you know, hey, you're listening to CareyHolzman. We'll be right back right after this. You know, it's got that very radio sound. Now, I can adjust the mid-range, the bass, and the treble. I have adjusted it to where I like it. However, these are just initial settings I'm playing with. They're not final decisions. And let's see if I can hit that button. Okay, so that mutes me. And if I want to curse, I should be able to push this button. If I want to say, hey, why don't you go yourself? You can just, as far as I'm concerned, you and your can go and you can't even hear what I'm saying because you're just a... So I think that's pretty cool. So stupid. Okay. Does it put the tone out? Do you guys hear the tone, or is it just muted? I think it's a tone, right? It's so stupid. All right. So again, with the software, you get the equalizer where I can adjust the gate, the compressor, and then of course the bass, the mid-range, and the treble. So just for fun, oh, this is even better. So I can get a full equalizer instead of, let's enable fine tuning. Wow. Let me turn the gate and compressor completely off. And then let's bring up, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's a little too deep. Let's bring up the mids a little bit more, a little bit right about there, I think. Let's bring up right about here. And then, oh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, check 1, 2, check. Ooh, that's a little teeny. Let's bring that down. Maybe we can bring down right about there. What are we doing? 5.1 to 18. Wow. Okay, that, ooh. That should be a little better. That's a little crazy. Let's turn extreme tuning off. Let's just do that. All right, now that should be a little bit better. Now, hello and welcome into my latest live broadcast. My name is CareyHolzman. Today is the 31st of January, 2021. Thank you guys so much for watching. This should sound just like your cheesy radio voice. That's what I'm going for. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so does this make this headset sound better now? Is this now... Remember you said this was the second place headset. I'm hearing that the S's are I should be able to just bring that, maybe just bring the compressor up just a little bit. Usually the S's and the P's, the popping, popping the P's. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. If we just a touch of the gate, a touch of the compressor. Okay, here we go. Now, of course, if I project my voice a little differently and I speak up, it should have a little bit more. There's the word, fidelity. Thank you, Alex. Yes, absolutely. So when I'm doing an interview, I feel like this is the voice I want people to hear versus my real voice, which is like, you know, hey, everybody, how's it going? All right, so now here's the next question. So if that does this effect on these Sennheisers, then what are the Audio-Technicas going to sound like? That's the question. So let's mute these. Flip back the, I'm back on the lapel mic. It should be. And suddenly these sound a lot better, right? So let's take these out. These are definitely long cord, good sounding mic. I will definitely use these as a potential interview candidate. Suddenly I got over how they look. See how that works? Suddenly I'm not so focused on how they look anymore. But let's take the worst, forget those Audio-Technicas for a minute. Let's take the worst headphones of the bunch. I thought he was reviewing headsets and it turns out to be a mixer review. Surprise. Okay. Now we all know how crappy this sounded before, yeah? And again, we're stuck in the same situation where we have one plug, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Is this headphone or microphone? I'm going to assume microphone because I don't really care about the headphones. And let's see. Check 1 2. Check. I'm not getting any audio from this at all. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check. Check, check, check 1 2. Wow, these are really bad. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check, 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 check. We go over here. I don't think that's probably going to help. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. No. So you're still hearing me on the lapel mic, just so we're clear. I'm trying to get the other mic on right now, and I can hear it popping when I plug it in, and then nothing happens. I'm wondering if I can break this out, if that will help me. I know I have that adapter. We'll steal the adapter, because I can buy an adapter on Amazon for a couple of bucks. What did I do with it? Right here. The adapter came with the Audio-Technicas, go figure. So I'm going to use this little adapter. Should have come with the adapter. Come on, what am I supposed to do with this? It's like they just think you're going to use it on a smartphone. Okay, so, and these aren't standard colors on the adapter. Usually it's green and red. So I'm guessing black is headphones and white. All right, watch your ears. Or, I don't know how you watch your ears. Let's see what it is there. Ooh, check 1 2. Check 1, still have nothing. I still have nothing. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Check 1 1. Oh, hey, the switch works now. All right, so I'll switch the lapel mic off. Okay, so now, ooh, this is interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the latest broadcast. It's a little saturated. Hello, everybody. Now, this is the crappiest headset that we have, and I don't know. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Is it just a piece? I don't know. Does that still work? Now this feels more professional on my head, and the microphone's not, blocking my face as much. And all of a sudden, here's what I got to know. It's a little hot. All right, we'll bring it down a little bit here. Let's bring it down. How about that? Is that a little better? How about that? Scotty says real good. Michael Dane says he likes the other ones better. That's all right. That's tell me what you think. Don't pull any punches. Now, this feels a lot better to me. It just means I'd have to get one of these little splitters, which is disappointing that the splitter was not included. I guess I'll have to leave that on my Amazon review. We're back to an 8 of 10. So these went from the worst that jumped right up to this equivalent of basically the other 3. All right, so these, it does sound a little saturated. It is definitely a cheaper microphone. There's no doubt about it. But suddenly now I'm not so anxious to return these. Now I'm kind of curious how they're going to be for listening to music. Now let's switch it up a little bit. Let's go back to those Corsairs. Let's go to the next worst ones, because we already know the Audio-Technicas were good. In theory, they should be even better, so let's save those for last. You with me? So I'm going to mute this. I just said I was muted and you cannot hear me. Read lips, because I was switching to the lapel mic. I want you to hear the distinct audio difference when I switch. And then let's go to OBS and let's mute that so you don't get the jolts in your ears from me plugging and unplugging things. Now, I want to make sure I keep this cord with the, these are the Phillips, right? Wherever that box was for the Phillips. That's all right, I'll just remember. I'll have to play the video back to remember. But we'll put those up there. We're going to go back to those, what did I say, Corsair? I meant Cooler Masters. Let's go to these Cooler Masters. Now this presents an interesting problem because the Cooler Masters are USB. And I don't believe that has a USB input. So that's not going to help us at all, That is absolutely... So these are the ones I should send back, I'm guessing. I don't know. I can't use those, they're USB. Does it have a... Wait a minute. Can I unplug this? Oh. So the volume part is the USB part. All right, hold up. So once again, I just need something to break that out. So let's steal that little adapter again. I guess I'm gonna go on Amazon and order about 4 of these little splitters. All right, so we're back here. Check 1 2, check 1 2, check. Okay, this is working, so I'm gonna mute my lapel mic. And now I am on the Cooler Master. These are the MH752s. Check 1 2 3. I'm leaving all the mixer settings alone right now. These do sound a bit loud in my ears, but the volume on my meter is looking actually low. So that's interesting. I wonder if that's just the check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. Okay, I don't know. I have no idea. Music, no. Check 1 2 3. Okay, so now I would think this volume would need to go up a little bit if it was. Let's crank it all the way up. All right, so these are, oh, that's too loud. Let's bring it down. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Hello, check. That looks pretty good. I'm hearing a little bit of echo when I talk because the compression and the gate are kicking in. Now this is interesting. Now William Lynn is giving these a 9 out of 10. Now none of the headphones from you guys have claimed any headphones to be higher than an 8. I do hear quite a bit of the gate turning on and off. So let me bring that down a little bit. And oh yeah, that's way better. Okay, so now when I tell you that you're, and if you don't believe me, you can, yeah, so that's all right. Now other evidence about things are a 6 out of 10. Michael Dane thinks they're an 8 out of 10, and William Lynn thinks they sound like a radio station. And Travis Wright, people are talking about WKRP in Cincinnati. Okay, so all of a sudden now, all of these headphones are now apparently as good as the mixers, what it's seeming like to me, right? So now suddenly, instead of plugging the headphones directly into the computer and trusting the manufacturing of the mic or the the audio controller that they're putting in this case on the USB adapter that's got the volume up and down. I don't need the volume up and down on the cord. I'm going to control it here or through the computer itself. So, you know, these suddenly seem pretty reasonable. However, I'm noticing a much higher volume in these for some reason. I'm not sure why these seem louder in my ears. Justy1 wants to know if they're comfortably numb. They are very comfortable headphones, I will say that. Of the headphones so far, these are the most comfortable. But now we got to go to the Audio-Technicas, as Vern is suggesting. We definitely need to try that. So I'm going to switch back over now, back to the lapel mic, so hang in there for a minute. Okay, so now I'm back on lapel. Yeah, I got to figure out what that little adapter is called. It's got a name. It's basically a 3.5 millimeter breakout for microphone and headphone. Because remember, when you're plugging into a smartphone, you only have, if your smartphone even has a headphone jack, it's also a microphone jack. So this wouldn't do you much good on a cellular phone if you wanted to use this as a headset on a phone. But if I use that, and if my phone has a plug in it, then in theory, nope, the phone case prevents it from sitting all the way into the jack. So the phone case would have to come off. So it's not even good for that. Interesting. Okay, so let me set these back over here. So the only one of these that has the breakout are the Sennheisers. The Cooler Masters of a single 3.5. The Philips are a single 3.5, but they're really intended as a headphone jack. They're just intended as headphones, I mean. And now the Audio-Technica. Dun, dun, dun. And the Audio-Technicas are also a single. Interesting. Okay. I'm just digging these Audio-Technicas. I just don't like that exposed wire. And, you know, we'll figure something out. Maybe I'll take you up on your offer, Susan. Couldn't hurt to try, right? Hey, it's Peter Laycock in the chat room. Hey, Peter. Peter's contributed 50 pounds. Generous as always. Thank you so much. Much of what I'm showing you right now would not have been possible without help from folks like Peter, who have been active contributors here. And check 1, 2. Okay, now I'm hearing myself with these. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna turn the lapel off. You know the routine now, right? Okay, so now I'm on the Audio-Technicas. These certainly don't sound as loud in my ears. I don't know why. The ones I just had on were quite loud, and I don't see any volume on the mixer for the output, which is weird. Like I have system volume, music volume, chat volume. I don't even know what chat volume means. And then mic volume. So I've got system volume all the way up, but if I turn system volume all the way down, it's making no impact for you guys. Because I think that's system sounds, things like the USB sounds and music playing off the system. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. And some people are saying these are loud, which is interesting, and muffled. Muffled could be because of the volume. If I bring the volume down a little bit here, the question now becomes, where is it overkill? Now, we're clipping. Well, we're clipping because... Oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe not. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. No, it's not clipping. I could have the microphone a little too close. That could be causing some distortion. And these may have a bit more bass naturally. So if I go back to the equalizer and I reset the equalizer from the customizations... Seriously, there's a button for top color, bottom color on the mixer. Gradient. Ooh, gradient colors. What? Stupid. Apply to all. Oh yeah. Oh, that's totally dumb. I can see the colors change as the slider goes up. That's great. Sorry, I got a squirrel. Channel 1, Channel 2. Well, they're just calling them, so this is interesting. Where it says mic, chat, music, and system on the software, they're called faders, which is what they are. Channel 1, 2, 3, and 4, but there's nothing on the device saying channel 1, 2, 3, or 4. So they've labeled them differently in the software. Instead of saying mic, chat, music, and system, it says channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. And you can control if you want the lights to be different colors for each fader. I guess that you could do that. Good to know. All right, file that away. What is this? Routing, headphones, microphone, game, console, line in, samples, broadcast, stream, mix, line out, chat, mic. Oh, like for Discord and stuff like. Okay, I got it. I see. I've got this sort of the way I'm going to use this with StreamYard in interviews. I'm like, well, what does it mean, chat? But I guess if you're gaming, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool, Copper Top. All right, then system, what do we have? Mic setup. Mic setup. Okay, check 1, 2. And it shows 3.5 millimeter type of a microphone input. And then I can adjust the gain. I can bring the gain down. I can bring the gain way up or way down. Way down. This is a 39 dB gain. I just lowered my voice just to make it more dramatic. But a 39 dB gain, that's probably blowing this thing right up. Let's see, that's probably really saturated right now. So let's bring it down a little bit more. Let's bring that gain down. Check, 1, 2, check, check, 1, 2, check. We'll bring it down to, well, I think it was at 29. Maybe, let's see, that's 12. That's too low. 16, 20, 21, 25, 29, 29. Let's see, 30. This is 30 right here. Feels like 30 is a little low. There's 32. 32 feels good. Yeah, that feels good. Analytics. No, I don't want any analytics. Lighting. Yeah, I don't care about the lighting. Microphone. I kind of like that. Okay, so Carey, the Audio-Technica sound worse than before on the GoXLR. They sounded better by themselves. Well, Zero Core, I'm still making some adjustments. In theory, the GoXLR should only make the microphone sound worse if you haven't configured it properly. So then that would be on me, right? Because what I'm trying to do, by comparing each microphone, if I keep adjusting the GoXLR to accommodate for the shortcomings of each microphone, I should be able to get the best out of each one. But if I want to determine which one's the best one, then I want to try and keep the settings as much as similar as possible so I can evaluate just the microphone and the headphones themselves and then fine-tune whatever is the best of those to sound even better. So this should sound better right now. And I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10 or of the 4 headsets you've heard, please tell me which ones you prefer. What you're hearing with regards to clipping, I don't think is clipping. I think it's the compressor in the gate. Let me turn the gate and the compressor all the way off because I'm hearing it cut out a little bit. So let's take those. Those are completely off now. And then let's put the equalizer back to default, which is what I was going to do. If I can remember how to do it. Equalizer. Come on now. Compressor. Threshold. Oh, that's for the compressor. Okay. Yeah. Check 1, 2. So if I bring this down a little bit here, we sort of flatten out the mixer. So I still like to put a little more bass in it, but you know what? Let's just flatten it out. That's kind of close to flat. And I don't know. What do you think? Does it sound all right? I think the Al says the Sennheisers were a 10 out of 10. Putting them, so again, with the mixer being able to adjust the treble and the bass, the mid-range at a more granular level, right now I've kind of got it flat. Now my personal preference When I adjust a mixer, usually the left side of the mixer is going to be your bass, the middle of the mixer is going to be your mid-range, and then the right side of the mixer is going to be different frequencies of treble, going higher and higher up. And what I tend to do if you've ever seen one of my mixers, old school spectrum analyzer mixer from the 80s, and kids don't have mixers today, right? They don't have equalizers is what I mean to say. When I would adjust an equalizer, what it would look like is, starting from the far left, I would be a little above the middle, and then the next one would be all the way to close to the top, and then the next one would match the first one, so you kind of have this little peak, and then the rest of them would come down in a wave till it got to the middle. It never went below the middle, and as we go up to the treble, we'd come up, and at the very end dip off so that you don't have too much of a high end. So it kind of, if you can picture a wave in your head, the way that the equalizer would look, to my audio preference, is it's down, up, level, back up, and back down. That's my preference. So if I do that with this mixer right now, let's see what it sounds like. So if we bring up this equalizer to be similar to how I would tune it for music, then it would look like approximately this would be where I would want it for music, but not necessarily for voice, right? I wouldn't normally use an equalizer on voice. That's typically done through the mixer. Usually a mixer has an equalizer built into it, and if you've ever seen those fancy recording studios and they have rows and rows of buttons, that's because it's also adjusting basically equalization for each input individually as you go down those, because it looks like a big sea of buttons. You're like, how does that guy know what to press, right, or what to turn? So for the most part, they're all the same. They're all frequencies, or they're all gain. And so depending on if, this track here is the guitar, and this one is the drums, and this one is the keyboard, and this one is the backup singers, and then you can blend that and adjust it to what sounds best. So, producers, in my opinion, don't get enough credit for, when you're listening to a song you like, you'd be surprised how crappy that song might sound in a garage. But once it gets into a studio and a producer can properly mix it, they can make or break a song just in the mix. And that's why guys like, Deadmau5 and Skrillex do what they do. I was having that talk. A friend that's close over here by Studio B has a Twitch channel where he DJs, and I got to see his DJ setup, and it's really, really cool. And if you want to check him out on Twitch TV, DJ Big Red, you just type it as one word. If you just go to Google and type in Twitch space DJ Big Red, and you'll find this guy's got 2 turntables and a mixer with a sampling pad on it, and it makes light work out of mixing, not like the days when we used to mix. He can align beats per minute and everything with the push of a button, whereas before we used to have to slow the record down or speed it up to get it where we wanted, and he can emulate that for sure. But the computer can do it all for him. And even though you see records spinning, they're not real records. All the music's MP3s played off his laptop, which you can see the laptop when he's broadcasting. And I like his choice of music as well. So anyway, this is where I would have the mixer not the mixer. This is where I would have the equalizer if I was listening to rock and roll or pop music. For voice, I think I tend to want to stay a little bit more on the bass, because that makes me of a more manly man. I have a deep baritone voice, right? It doesn't sound like I'm insecure. Like it sounds confident, right? And then on the treble side of it, I would probably, you still need some treble. If you drop the treble entirely, it doesn't sound right. It's just muffled. It's definitely not as good. PC, somebody in the chat contributes $2 says the MH752's noise canceling is great. I don't think there's any noise canceling that's occurring other than the gate and the compressor that I'm using. So what you're hearing now is basically all the treble turned down, and of course it's muffled, right? So the trick when you're equalizing is you want to find the tonality. You want to get that warm tone, and you have some control where we're not adjusting the pitch of my voice. I'm not making my voice higher or lower. what we're doing is we're adjusting the frequency response of which sounds are being, which frequencies are being amplified and which ones are being slightly muted. That's essentially the job of an equalizer. But then when you get into gates and compressors, that's where you start getting rid of hiss and noise canceling. Now, if those MH752s have noise canceling in them, that's got to go through the USB port as part of the DAC. They don't appear to be noise canceling headphones, so I'm not sure about that. Now, some folks are saying use RTX noise canceling technique. Yeah, of course we can do that. So this equalizer setting is pretty well sounding good to the way I like it. I've got the mixer, I've got the gate and the compressor completely off right now. But I have to say, as far as comfort level goes, those Audio-Technicas were certainly more comfortable. Wait a minute, are these the Audio-Technica? These are the Audio-Technicas. These are not as comfortable. What were the ones I just had on? Those Cooler Master ones. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm kind of confused now. The GoXLR completely changes the sound dynamics of the microphones. It's not doing jack squat for the output, which is fine, but a true mixer would. A true mixer would give me separate outputs. So for example, and I just want to, let's paint a picture. Let's say you're in a studio, like you've probably seen interviews with like Joe Rogan or whatever, and they have people sitting around a table. Howard Stern. This is typically how interviews are done. Howard Stern's actually in a different room, and Robin's in another room, and the producers are in another room, and this gives everybody very exclusive and quiet audio. That's very unusual because it's expensive. Usually, if you're watching a morning DJ show, they're usually all sitting around a table, and a guest will come in and take up a headset, and then there's usually a microphone that you pull down towards yourself, and everybody sits around and can hear each other. And then what you have to do is you have to have a mixer which can control the volume for each individual listener, because someone might say this is a little loud, but someone over here might say it's not loud enough. So you'll have faders to adjust the volume level going out to each set of headphones individually. So when I did the radio show, we didn't have a very big mixer, so we would have basically 3 volume outputs. One was the master volume going out to the studio, which was what we call the mix, and then we have basically a monitor and maybe a second monitor. I can't remember how we labeled it. But obviously the more microphones and headphones and guests you're going to have, the more you need individual. Some people have voices that project, some people are soft speakers, some people don't get close enough to the mic, some people try and eat the microphone. And it's the production manager's job to adjust everybody individually. Now you can imagine if you're all sitting around a table that all the audio when somebody's speaking is bleeding out into all the other microphones. So those microphones generally get tuned way down, so you got to get close to them. Otherwise you end up with this really strange tunnel effect which can occur. So it's a pretty complicated process. The good news is once you get it all figured out and you've adjusted all your feedbacks and things like that, it's pretty much just fine-tuning from any future guests. And then you can usually just mute somebody. You know, if a guest leaves and there's nobody sitting there, you don't want a hot mic on, and you don't want the sound of the microphone, the sound of the headphones being picked up by any of the microphones. So again, the production manager can just hit a button. You see, I just muted myself on purpose. And then, of course, the production manager, there's usually an audio delay, so if somebody decides they want to cuss and say, hey, why don't you go yourself, they can mute that within the 3 or 4, 7 seconds, whatever they have, to catch it before it goes out. Because there is no, well, the way I've got my YouTube configured, there's no delay, but I can add one. And if I add one, that's what that's for. If I have, you know, if I'm having wild guests on my show that are unpredictable and I'm worried about family-friendly content or FCC rules, especially in over-the-air radio, that little button, that's a really important button because it can result in fines and all kinds of trouble. So on YouTube, not so much. It's nice to have. I like how they label the button with just a bunch of, you know, it's an exclamation point, an @ symbol, a hashtag, a $, a question mark, and a quote, which I guess is the universal for just foul language. I don't know who decided the order of that. And of course you can customize the colors on the faders, which is just stupid. I kind of wish they'd do something, because it's all very static. You know, it's all just kind of stays like that. But I think at the end of this, well, here, let me tell you what. Let me switch back. Almost there. Hold on. Okay, so when this is all said and done, it kind of feels like any of these are going to do the job. I kind of feel like there's not a real big difference at all once you put the GoXLR in there. Now, GoXLR does make a bigger mixer, but I don't want a huge tabletop filled with a bunch of dials and faders and cables and of course, if I wanted to, I could grab my Heil PR40, which is a professional XLR desktop microphone that sits on a stand, plug it into the XLR input, and just for the sake of comparison, try it. Because in theory, that should sound better than this lapel mic. Like, that should sound like, holy smokes. My friend Ewan Rankin over at the British Tech News Network said his voice with the PR40 sounded more chocolatey. I don't even know what that means. However, if you want your voice to sound chocolatey, apparently, you know, the Heil PR40 is the chocolate microphone. All right, so that pretty much addresses all of that. And why don't you tell me what your favorite is and tell me why? Is it the way, which headset is your favorite? Is it the way it looks? Which one is the one, let's categorize it this way. Which headset do you think looks the most professional? Which headset do you think has the best sounding microphone through the GoXLR, obviously? And let's take a poll. Okay, well, that's it. Hope you have a good night. Let me find my outro and get out of here. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Until then, bye for now.